So looking at the standings for the Red Wings, running out of time. Told you, really got to win out. So here we go. 4 games left. Red Wings are going into game 79. And they're rounding out their regular season. You got the Flyers coming up tomorrow. You got the Devils on Saturday. Tampa Bay Lightning on Monday. And the Florida Panthers on Wednesday. And then that's it for the regular season. And I said it going into this, really the last 2 games, Red Wings pretty much have to win out. I mean, they get a point. Yay. So here we go. And all the teams that they're closely competing with all also have 4 games remaining. So here's what we got to do. Here's how the Red Wings can still stumble into the playoffs. So obviously top 3 in the Atlantic Division, that's well out of reach with actually a 3-way tie. Tampa, Buffalo, and Montreal all with 102 points, which just stings. Looking at where Montreal is, and even by extension Buffalo, because that's where the Red Wings should be if they continued to play the way that they did in December and January. More on that in a moment, but man, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But anyways, so teams in the mix. I mean, Pittsburgh, technically the Red Wings can catch them. And I'm thinking obviously in a hypothetical sense because Pittsburgh being in the Metropolitan Division makes it a little bit different. But hypothetically, should Pittsburgh fall out into the wild card, then the Red Wings can catch them. They're 7 points back of Pittsburgh. Both teams with 4 games left. So that's 8 points on the table for the Red Wings. So at that point, the Red Wings do have to win out, and the Penguins have to lose out if the Red Wings want to surpass the Pittsburgh Penguins in points. Otherwise, you are competing with the Flyers and the Senators right now. Both teams with 92 points. 3 more points than the Red Wings. So with 4 games left, that is 8 points. Maximum of 8 points possible for the Red Wings. They need to finish in that stretch 6 points better than both the Flyers and the Senators. So that can, if we went out, which I think the Red Wings need to do, that would put the Red Wings at 97 points. Then at that point, the Flyers and the Senators could only get 4 points the rest of the way, 96 points. Now, I'm not sure what the tiebreaker order is. Like, is it head-to-head? I probably should have looked into this before going on the air today. Is it head-to-head? Is it? I know regulation win percentage plays a role. So, anyways, just to be 100% sure, the Red Wings have to clear the tie. They have to be at least 1 point better than these teams. So, the Red Wings need to try to finish with one extra point. Again, the best possibility is to win out. You get the job done on your end. And then say the Flyers and Senators, they can only win at most 2 of their last 4 games. And the other 2 games have to be regulation losses, no overtime. Because that would put the Flyers or the Senators at 96 points. Red Wings winning out would be 97 points. And then the Red Wings would be in. But you also have to consider who else is in the picture. The Blue Jackets, Islanders, and Capitals. Now, the Capitals are a little bit more of a long shot. They can only finish with a maximum of 95 points. So they need the most help of anybody in the play. And they're the last team left that is not eliminated. But they got the Maple Leafs, 2 against the Penguins, and then 1 against the Blue Jackets the rest of the way. So if they win those games, those teams are going to be losing. So the Capitals, if they win out, they'll have a chance. But the Capitals and the Red Wings at this point, and the Islanders as well, I would mention, are probably in a win-out scenario at this point. But especially the Capitals with the lowest amount of points of the bunch. Meanwhile, looking at the Islanders, they also have 89 points just like the Red Wings, but they do actually give the Red Wings the right of way on the standings, at least based on the standings that I'm looking at. So the Islanders, they've got the Maple Leafs, the Senators, Canadiens, and Hurricanes. They've got a pretty tough schedule the rest of the way. And they recently fired their head coach as well. Fired Patrick Waugh. Hired a former Stars coach, DeBoer. But they've been losing lately. They've lost 4 straight games. No points. So they're on a cold spell just like the Red Wings. But the Islanders, again, they're just like the Red Wings and Capitals. They have to basically win out, especially you're playing some of those teams directly. Red Wings, we mentioned, and then the Blue Jackets, they are 1 point over the Red Wings. So the Red Wings, if they win out, they need to finish 1 point better than the Blue Jackets to ensure the Blue Jackets don't catch up to them. So the Red Wings, with their 8 points maximum they can get, which is 97 points. The Blue Jackets, just to be safe, they can only finish with 6 more points in their last 8 possible, their last 4 games, which would put them at 96 points, just like the number I mentioned for Philadelphia and Ottawa. So the Blue Jackets, in their last 4 games, they got the Sabres, they got the Canadiens, they got the Bruins, and they got the Capitals. So they've got a pretty tough finish as well in that mix. Meanwhile, I don't know if we looked at the schedule for the other teams, the Flyers and the Senators. So the Flyers, obviously, direct game against the Red Wings. That is huge for the Red Wings next game. Then they got the Jets, they got the Hurricanes, and the Canadiens for their last 4. Senators, meanwhile, for the last 4 games, they've got the Panthers, Islanders, Devils, and Maple Leafs. So, on paper, they have probably the easiest remaining schedule. So that is not good news for the Red Wings. So with 4 games left, in my eyes, the Red Wings need to win out, and they need to get some help. They need some help. They need Philadelphia, Ottawa, and Columbus specifically to all be terrible. Because, again, based on these standings, they have the right of way for the Red Wings over the Islanders in these standings. So I'm guessing that means if these two teams tie at the end of the season, then the Red Wings will be in, like hypothetically, if it was between those two teams for the last wild card spot, the Red Wings would be in, the Islanders would be out. So given that information, Islanders aren't even really a factor here, hypothetically, if the Red Wings do win out. So if you win out, Red Wings, you got to worry about the Flyers, Senators, and the Blue Jackets. Technically, yes, the Red Wings can catch up to the Bruins, but the Bruins have to lose their last 3 games. The Bruins actually have a game in hand, so 3 more games. We need the Bruins to lose to the Lightning, Blue Jackets, and Devils. So I'm not really going to factor them in. I don't envision the Red Wings that happening, I guess, even though it's possible. But Flyers, Senators, and Blue Jackets need to lose. And I know it's kind of weird because some of these teams do play each other. But if the Red Wings win out, and those teams lose as much as possible, finish with no more than 96 points, because I don't really want to get into all the individual tie-breaking scenarios with all those teams, then the Red Wings should be in the playoffs. And again, that goes besides the point. Do we even want that to happen? Because they'd be matched up with likely Carolina, currently the number 1 overall team in the East. And that was not a good matchup for the Red Wings this year with the Hurricanes. But even whoever they play in the first round, with how the Red Wings have played the last 2 months, I do not. You got to be going in the playoffs hot at this point. And even if the Red Wings went out, it's like, I don't know. Depending on how well they win those games, that would be the question there. But the Red Wings, they're in a bad spot. You are in win out and help mode. You not only need to win out, but you need to get some big-time help from these other teams losing games if you want to make it happen at this point. And damning stat, absolute damning stat that I looked up this morning with these standings. So the best stretch of the season for the Red Wings was the entire month of December through January 25th. January 24th, coming off a win against the Winnipeg Jets. At that time, the Red Wings, number 1 in the Atlantic Division. And in that time, December 1st through January 25th, best team in the Eastern Conference during that 2-month span. But then since then, second worst in the entire East, only better than the Florida Panthers in that stretch. How? How can you have a drop-off that bad? And I've seen people say online like, oh, that's 3 years in a row, that's 2 years in a row that they get screwed by the break. It was last year the Four Nations break, and this year it was the Olympic break. No excuses. You know who else had that break? Everybody else. No excuses. How many times? Steve Yzerman, how many times do we got to be knocking on the door of the playoffs and then we blow it? The Red Wings blow it in March and April. This year, especially considering that I mentioned January 25th, they were number 1 in the division. And they had a lot heavier of a workload, a lot more back-to-backs and such. Consistently had 2 or 3 more games played than a lot of other teams in that first portion of the season before the Olympic break. So you had a little bit more rest than other teams this second half of the season. Where's the excuses? Come on. Completely unacceptable. 100-year anniversary for this team. And you're going to ruin the significance of that milestone by finishing like this. I don't know about you, but I'm very upset, people. You can probably tell. I'm very upset. Very upset in the Red Wings. As a matter of fact, as a fan, even though I mentioned all these scenarios that the Red Wings can make the playoffs, I've all but honestly checked out as a fan. I'm only following the rest of the season with the Red Wings because of this show. Because of you. Is why I torture myself with watching Red Wings hockey. But no, especially how they played the last 2 weeks. Racking up these losses against teams they should be beating, while teams around them were losing. More than enough opportunity to be sliding into these playoff spots, but you just continue to lose games and lose games and lose games. My fan side has completely checked out of this Red Wings season. No interest. This is not playing like a team that wants to be in the playoffs, wants to end that playoff drought. But just for you, I'm going to keep following the team so that I can continue to say it like it is.
If you missed today's installment of On the Docket, podcast it at foxsports1019.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to tune in live weekdays at noon on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.